Hey, what's up, future Filipino CPAs? I know accounting for digital assets can feel like a total headache, but you are absolutely in the right place. We're about to crack the code on software, websites, and SaaS. Three topics that are pretty much guaranteed to show up on the LECPA. Let's get you totally ready to crush this section.
So here's our game plan for today. We're going to start with the absolute core rules for software, and then we'll see how those same rules apply to websites. After that, we are diving into the super tricky world of SaaS. And of course, we're going to wrap it all up with one killer review slide that you can screenshot for your final study grind. Let's do this. All right, first up, software. Seriously, mastering this one core principle, knowing when to expense versus when to capitalize, is everything. If you can get this down, I promise the rest of the topics will just click into place. I mean, this is the big question, right? Think about it. In any software project, you've got all these costs flying around: planning, designing, coding. So at what exact moment do you flip that switch? When does a cost stop being just an expense and start building an actual asset? Well, it all comes down to one key concept. And here is your golden phrase: technological feasibility. You need to burn this into your brain. This is that magic moment when an idea becomes real, when you finally have a super detailed blueprint, or even better, a working model. From an accounting perspective, this is the official green light. It's the moment you can finally start capitalizing costs. This table just lays it out so perfectly. Before you hit that feasibility point, you are in what we call the research phase. Everything, and I mean everything, the planning, the designing, even the testing you do to prove you've got a feasible idea, all of that gets expensed. Then, boom, the second you cross that line, you are in the development phase. Costs from this point forward, like all the coding and testing, get capitalized. That's what builds your intangible asset. Okay, heads up, because this is a classic LSEP trap. I can almost guarantee you're going to see a question trying to trick you on this exact point. They'll list out a bunch of costs, and hidden in there will be something like testing to establish technological feasibility. Remember, the work you do to get to the green light is still part of the research phase. It's an expense. Only the costs that happen after the light is already green get capitalized. Don't fall for it.
So, let's put some numbers on it to make it real. Imagine a typical exam problem. You might have costs for program design and initial testing. Those get expensed. But the heavy lifting that comes after that point, the coding, the post-feasibility testing, making the product masters, in this example, that's 5.9 million pesos. And that is your capitalized asset. All right, section 2, websites. We are literally going to take that exact same logic of expense versus capitalize and just apply it to something new. The official guidance here is called SIC 32, and you're going to see it follows a very, very similar pattern. So, according to SIG 32, a website's life is kind of broken down into these 4 main chapters. You start with planning, the brainstorming phase. Then you move into application and infrastructure development. This is where you actually build the website's engine. Next is content development, which is just filling it up with all your stuff. And finally, you have the ongoing operating stage. And guess what? The accounting is different for each one. This slide is basically your roadmap. Check out how similar it is to what we just talked about. The planning stage? Yeah, that's just like the research phase, so you expense it. The operating stage? That's just day-to-day maintenance, so you expense that too. Application and infrastructure development? Well, that's like the development phase. You're building the asset, so you capitalize it. But stage 3, content development, that's the tricky one. This is where the examiners love to separate the top students from the rest. And here it is, the big exam trap for websites. If you're creating content for the sole purpose of advertising, we're talking product photos, marketing slogans, promotional videos, SIC 32 is crystal clear. You expense it, always. This is a massive distinction, and you have got to remember it for the exam. Okay, on to section 3, software as a service, or SaaS. This is everywhere now, right? Think about things like Google Workspace or Canva. So how do we account for all the setup costs? Luckily for us, the IFRS Interpretations Committee, the IFRIC, has given us some very direct guidance. Okay, first things first, we gotta know the lingo. There's a huge difference between configuration and customization. Configuration is just using the built-in settings, you're just ticking some boxes, choosing from a drop-down menu, you're using the software exactly how it was designed. Customization, on the other hand, is way more intense. It means you're actually changing the software's code or even writing new code to add new features. This difference is absolutely critical for the accounting. And this quote is the heart of the whole thing.
With a SaaS arrangement, you are not buying a piece of software, you are buying a service. The IFRIC really wants us to understand that what you're paying for is the right to access the software, not the software itself. It's a totally different mindset.
So why is it a service? It all comes down to one of the most powerful words in all of accounting: control. Who is actually in control of the software? Since the cloud provider owns and controls all the underlying code on their platform, you, the customer, don't have an asset. And if you don't have an asset, you can't capitalize costs related to it. It's that simple. Those configuration and customization fees are just part of the cost of the service, so you expense them. Now, there is one tiny exception. If your customization involves creating brand new, totally separate code that you actually control, then maybe, just maybe, you've created an asset. But it's super rare. Okay, let's bring it all home. This next slide is the one you've been waiting for. This is your screenshot and save to your phone slide. This is your ultimate high-yield review for exam day.
And here it is, everything side by side. For software, the magic keyword is feasibility. Capitalize after, expense before. For websites, you gotta think in terms of this stage. Capitalize the build, but expense the planning, the maintenance, and all the ads. And for SaaS, it is all about control. It's pretty much always expensed as a service. Lock these three keywords in your mind: feasibility, stage, and control, and you will be ready for anything they throw at you.
I'll leave you with one final thought. Technology is moving so incredibly fast. We're talking AI, blockchain, you name it. So how are our accounting standards going to keep up? Which of these rules do you think will be the first to become obsolete? Keep asking these kinds of bigger questions. That's what's going to make you not just a great CPA, but a true leader in our profession. Good luck with your review. You are going to be amazing. You've got this.